Hello, everybody. We are live with the GIZ Lab of Tomorrow 16 Demo Day. It's lovely to see you all here. I am joined on the main stage. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Jones. I am a senior program manager at Seed Stars, which is the implementing body of this Labs of Tomorrow, which is funded by GIZ. And I am joined on stage here by two members of the GIZ team. We have Eric and Mark. Very nice to have you here today. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Hello.
Hello.
I'm also joined here by my colleague Ada, who is also a member of the Seed Stars team. Yes, show us some love with all of those emojis. That's great. We have a lot of people joining us today from all over the world. We're going to dive in just a second. But first, let's just give everybody a moment to join. I will hide our lovely speakers from the stage here so that then I can present, and I'll bring them back up on the stage when it's their turn to speak. So everybody, for now, say goodbye to Ada, Mark, and Eric. Bye, everybody. And we'll see them shortly. Alrighty. Perfect. Thank you for all of our joiners joining in from all over. Let me share my screen with you so that we can begin the event. Give me one moment. Alrighty. Let's just give it a moment. All right, perfect. Somebody give me some thumbs up and smiley faces if you can see my screen. Let's see those emojis down there at the bottom corner. Perfect. We got thumbs up emojis. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for joining. As I mentioned before, we are here for the GIZ Lab of Tomorrow, Lot 16 from Namibia. And we are here to present to you today 4 really, really amazing projects of teams that have come together from all over the world to present solutions on biodiversity. So before we jump in, I just want to mention that we are joined here today by investors and mentors and startups from all over the world. I'd like to give a special thank you to the AMIS Fund, who is here with us today, the Twee Care Foundation, Business Angel Club Berlin Brandenburg, Impact Tank, and Ornix Impact. Of course, these are only just a few investors that are joining us here today. We have lots of other funds and angel investors that are joining us, as I mentioned, along with mentors and startups. So I think it's going to be a really great event. Let me just walk you through. Oh, this is our cute little hello doggy. So again, thank you for joining us today. So as I mentioned, I am your host for today, Elizabeth from Seed Stars, and joined backstage by the lovely Ada. Before we jump in, I just wanted to tell you a little bit, in case you don't know about Seed Stars. What we are doing is we are impacting people's lives in emerging markets through entrepreneurship. So that's why we've partnered up with GIZ to run this Lot 11 program. And the Lot 11 program is in our education portion of what our company does, but we also have Seed Stars Capital, which directly invests in startups around the world. So we have solutions designed for ventures at every stage. We're really trying to get all startups and all ventures to this high growth company, this little orange part here. But really where we are with this Lot 11 program is more of kind of in the incubation phase, right? So I'll tell you a little bit more about the program in just a second, but then we are also having talent and coding schools around the world. So what are we here to talk about today? So a quick overview of the agenda. So a few of you joined us in the speed networking part before. It was really nice to meet all of you that I spoke with. Thank you for joining us there. We'll do a little bit of an overview of the program, and we'll hear from Mark and Eric at GIZ. Then we'll go into the pitches. So as I was mentioning, this Lot 11 program had teams that were formed just at the beginning of this program from all around the world, and they came together to create solutions on a specific idea on how to promote biodiversity in Namibia. So you're going to hear pitches about the solutions that they've created, and I really want this event to be super interactive. So of course, these companies are at their very early stages. They've done a lot of research. They're starting the development of their product, and that's where you come in, the community. We want to hear from you, investors, mentors, other startups. Please ask questions in the chat and the QA. I'll show you how to do so in a second. So after we have those pitch sessions, then we'll have a word of thanks, and then we'll go into some open networking. So I'll explain that a little bit now, but also at the end. But the networking is really fun. You have these little avatars that you move around, and you can connect with everybody. So please stay with us until the end. So all of you have already seen these little emojis at the bottom, but please show your love to the startups as you're listening to their pitches. And the way the pitches will work is you'll hear a pre-recorded video, because sometimes technology is a little bit funky. And then after that, we're going to bring actually one of the members of the team to the stage to answer your questions live. So please take advantage of this chat function here to ask your questions. It can be simple, complex questions, or just anything really simple. But please be as interactive as possible, because questions and interaction is really what this event is all about. Then we also have this beautiful QA function, which you can see kind of on the right-hand menu there next to the chat. So you have this little chat box, and then you have the QA, and that's also where you can ask questions. So you have two options there. Unfortunately, we won't have participants ask their questions out loud, but those are the places where you can ask questions, and we'll make sure to get to all of them. Then, as I was mentioning, after the pitches, we'll have this fluid networking space where you have your little avatar, and you move it around with the arrows on your keyboard or your mouse. You can click and drag, and as you get closer to somebody else's face, the video and the audio pops up, and you can have a conversation. So it's a really good way to have group conversations, or you can also have solo conversation. So a little bit about this GIZ Lab of Tomorrow. So the program is about creating sustainable business solutions in developing countries. And this one specifically is focused on Namibia and focused on creating biodiverse solutions focused on creating increased biodiversity in Namibia. So the startups have gone through, different mentorship, but also capacity building workshops on design thinking principles, how to take your idea really from this kind of idea stage and move it towards developing an MVP. So they've gone through a bunch of research on their own, but also market research, testing these ideas. And I know they're super excited to present these ideas to you. So I'll let Eric talk more about this in a second, because as the head of the Labs of Tomorrow, he knows more about it than I do, but I just wanted to show you all the different places where these Labs of Tomorrow programs are taking place. And as you can see, we're down here in the Namibia Biodiversity Protection area, but really there are many other countries where this is also taking place. So really the scope is quite large, and we're tackling different topics in different countries. So there were a total of 5 teams that took place in this academy sprint. So again, taking an idea, random people coming together, they have an idea, they agree on an idea, and they're starting to develop the minimum viable product, or MVP, of this solution, and they're here to present it to you today. Unfortunately, only 4 of these 5 teams will be presenting, but they have really great solutions, and again, I encourage you to ask all of your questions. So what did they do? Like I mentioned, some workshops, one-on-one mentoring. They were given some tools. So they've really gone through an intensive process over the past 3 months. You can see here a little bit of a summary of what they're doing, but I really want to get you to these pitches, so I won't go too deep into that. I am now going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to call Mark Gross back to the stage, who's the program director at GIZ and really the lead on this biodiversity and economy project. So let me just get Mark back up to the stage here. Let's see if he's with us. Here he comes. Hi, Mark. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you. So, thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, everybody. Very warm welcome to this Lot 16 demo day, also from the Biodiversity Economy project. We at the project are part of the Namibian-German Development Corporation, and the project promotes economic activities and businesses based on the sustainable use of biodiversity. This approach improves livelihoods in the target landscapes in Namibia and provides incentives to local eco-entrepreneurs and the communities for stronger preserving biodiversity. As probably everywhere else in the world, also in Namibia, we experienced quite dramatic challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which negatively impacted equally biodiversity and livelihoods, local livelihoods. And out of this difficult situation, the Lab of Tomorrow 16 was born to help create and innovate alternative digital income streams for local communities. So out of this lot, 16 strong venture teams have emerged, and they consist of eco-entrepreneurs and companies from Namibia, from other African countries, and also from Europe. And yeah, it's really great to see and meet here today again the venture teams that went through this incubation phase of the Lot 16 to sharpen their business ideas and create the startups with potential in the Namibian context, but also really beyond in other African countries and even with global prospects, I think. So these startups, I'm convinced, can become global players, at least some of them, global players with conservation-based business models. So I think there's really a lot in here. So I want to thank everybody involved in this endeavor for the huge efforts. And yeah, we as a project are excited about the upcoming pitches we will see in a few minutes and what came out of this innovation process in the recent months. So yeah, all the best for your ventures, and yeah, over to you, Elizabeth, again. Thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you so much, Mark, for that introduction. It was really, again, nice to have you here. And thank you so much for providing these startups with this amazing opportunity. So I'm going to take you off the stage again and call to the stage our next presenter. We have Eric, who is the head of Labs of Tomorrow. Even though I gave you this really brief overview of what Labs of Tomorrow is just a second ago, he is really the expert and can tell us more. So Eric, welcome to the stage. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, right. Welcome from my side as well. Would you please switch to the next slide? Exactly. So yeah, I'm the head of the Lab of Tomorrow, and I'll just take 3 or 4 minutes to describe the still relatively short journey that lies behind the venture teams, to give you an impression on the basis and the background of the presentations you'll see. Please excuse this pretty slide, but it allowed me to include all the details I'd like to get across. So from the start, like in all of our processes, the starting point is a challenge that an actor wants to help overcome in a sustainable way, of course. As described by Mark, in this case, the biodiversity economy team in Namibia has witnessed how endangered the wildlife is in the landscapes they're working in, as well as globally, of course. They also have witnessed how this challenge has intensified due to the dependency on physical tourism for income during the COVID crisis. This showed very clearly the need for diversification of the economy and helping to increase incomes locally at any stage or in any case. So this has been the start of the program in 2021. Now, identifying the specific needs on the ground in the landscapes as well as business potentials within these challenges is step one, or the understand phase of the program, as you see here. The slide is a little screwed, but you'll get the main points, I'm sure. We have included in this phase stakeholders from the public space, academia, foundations, tourism operators, international as well as local actors down to local tour guides, and experts in product development and design thinking to identify these needs, to collect the needed market data, and eventually define more specific business opportunities within this bigger challenge. These opportunities lay especially in the digital tourism space, as we've mentioned. Right, this space allows access to a new and very big market. It is more inclusive than just physical tourism, and it's not really cannibalizing on income from physical tourism as well, but instead, actually, it's supporting it. It's supportive. So this allows to bring in more biodiversity-based income that can help shift the focus from living off the biodiversity by destroying it, like poaching, to living from a strong biodiversity and therefore to need protecting it. This is and was the basis for us to move on to the ideation phase, so phase 2. Allowing for a fast time to market and the needed resources to be available, we select innovative and expert companies from their respective fields and from all over the world to make up our venture teams. These companies have expertise and products in the areas, all the needed areas like innovative virtual reality, drone companies, tourism actors, app developers, media companies, among them, for example, an Oscar-nominated studio, or, as everything is more fun and addictive, playfully, gamification experts as well. Right, you can see this here in the ideate phase, a couple of logos. Those were the companies that joined us to create new solutions, new impactful solutions, and sustainable ones. So we had all the puzzle pieces together. And these companies made up our 5 teams. We came together then in Namibia end of March for 4 days of intense product development, which was guided by the design thinking coaches headed by our support impact tank from Namibia. After these 4 days, our teams convinced the jury during the final presentation, and they moved on into our incubation phase, which was, as you've heard, conducted now by SeedStars. And now, after only 3.5 months of incubation, these teams have reached either MVP level, have pivoted, or are refocusing otherwise. This is, of course, a funnel, and not all ventures can grow equally fast or will even make it to market at all. Like you've heard, one team is now actually missing on short notice. Team Clipspringer has, due to recent developments, mostly in other areas of their business, withdrawn from the demo, unfortunately. But we look forward to host them at a demo at a later time. So now, while we look forward to provide further support to these ventures, this session is to connect them and you, the audience, to further stakeholders in the field to create additional partnerships and help develop the ideas and the ventures themselves. So we are happy to have quite an audience today with us, which, as mentioned before by Elizabeth, includes investors, impact investors, or foundations, political actors, and further experts from the field, and entrepreneurs. So my warmest welcome to everyone again. Please use this chance to ask questions to the teams during the session and roam and network afterwards in the fluid space as well. Thanks a lot. And looking forward to the pitches now. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Awesome, Eric. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that much more detailed explanation of the program. So without further ado, we are going to move now to our pitches. Give me one moment. Is everybody ready? I'm going to need to see some excitement here on the emoji button. I only have one hand clap. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Everybody's ready. Beautiful. Perfect. So here is the order of our pitches today. And as I was mentioning before, we have my lovely colleague here, Ada, in the back. So what's going to happen is we're going to watch the pitch video, which is pre-recorded, and then we're going to call each of the startups to the stage, one member of the team. So for this first one, Gerald will be coming to the stage afterwards to answer your questions. So pay attention to the pitch, ask your questions in the chat or through the QA button, and then we'll answer them live afterwards. So without further ado, I need to stop sharing my screen. Perfect. All righty, here we go.
Hi there, my name is Gerald Ferrara and I'm part of the team codename Nyika Nzira, meaning beautiful wilderness in Swahili. We are a group of specialists, each in our own field of expertise, ranging from virtual reality pioneers, software programmers, travel industry specialists to web developers and online marketing experts. Each of our team members have a proven track record of excellence and exception. Our business solution is based on the following problems. Problems that we've identified in the way we as humans exist. In today's world, there's a lot of stress, anxiety, and time management issues, and not enough time to relax and to enjoy the beautiful wilderness. Most people cannot afford to travel, or at least not as often as they want to, or they are too old to travel, or even unable to travel, being stuck in a wheelchair. Travel is fast becoming a luxury item. We as humans need more fun times, more leisure times, and time to broaden our horizons and time to relax. Our solution is to offer people who desperately need a holiday or a time to relax the opportunity to travel virtually, an opportunity to experience the leisure of travel from the comfort of their homes, the opportunity to experience new places, new adventures, and new holiday destinations, places to meditate and to explore the beautiful wilderness. Our 360 video allows people to travel to Namibia through virtual reality and give the travel industry a powerful marketing tool to get people to visit these beautiful places in real life. Combining hot topics all in one, offering gamified experiences. Almost everyone nowadays play games. Most people want to travel and explore new places using interactive activity and metaverse technologies to create immersive travel experiences, social media, marketing and video, which in all forms of entertainment, and combining it into an interactive, impactful experience. How are we going to do it? By offering custom travel experiences to our clients. Our main clients are anyone who wants to relax and enjoy life, people with a sense of adventurism, gamers, school children, adventurers, university students, young professionals, and even people in old age homes that want to escape boredom. By filming real-life tourism experience in Namibia using 360 video technology, live broadcasting, video conferencing tools, and interactive immersive virtual reality equipment, we can make virtual traveling fun and entertaining. Introducing people to Namibia and creating the urge for people to visit Namibia to benefit the Namibian economy, locals, and the tourism industry. We can market our solutions via the internet, on locations, via travel agents, trade shows, social media, search engine optimization, press releases, and most importantly, word of mouth by people who have experienced it firsthand. We believe our customers will be all the ordinary people who want to relax and have a good time, travel agents, schools, nursing homes, tour operators, and lodges. Our revenue structure includes freemium services, where people can try it for free and we upsell to them inside the experience. A subscription model, sales of experience of travel agents who can use it to market actual holidays to these destinations. We believe this is a billion-dollar concept that will change the entertainment and travel industry, the way we as humans get entertained, relax, and future travel.
Thank you so much for the pitch, Gerald. To the stage.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you very much for that pitch. Super, super exciting project. Nice to have you here with us today. So now is the time where all of the audience can bombard you with questions. I have a couple of questions of my own, but I will give the audience a moment to reflect and ask their questions before I dive in. So feel free to drop those questions in the chat, everybody, or perhaps in the Q&A section, whatever you prefer. Maybe while everybody's thinking other questions, I can just drop mine in there. So Gerald, my question to you is actually, in the video you showed people using the virtual reality kind of goggles. It looked like in a shopping center. But you also mentioned that the idea is that kind of people can do it from home. So what would they need to kind of order as part of a package to do it from home?
What we've done is we've created several different mechanisms for people to experience this. So the easiest way to experience is with your mobile phone or with a desktop
Okay.
or laptop or tablet. And then it also works with virtual reality. So for that part, you need a virtual reality headset. So it is basically accessible.
Okay, perfect. And the kind of footage that they would see, is it pre-recorded footage in the beginning, or is the idea for it to be live eventually? What's kind of the future of the product?
So I think the exciting part of it is that it's almost one side of it is that you choose your own story. So we can have an actual tour guide from Namibia to take people on custom tours, although it will be pre-recorded. So there will be stuff that, if you're interested in lions, there will be several experiences specific to lions, but the guide will be live. Then,
Okay.
secondly, our aim is to create it live. So let's say you go on holiday in Namibia and your family stay behind in Germany. Then you can invite them to join you on one of these trips, and they can actually see you and you can talk to them and stuff while you're actually doing your safari. So the idea is to make it as interactive as possible.
Cool. And for that section, if you're joining your family on a safari, what would the cost structure look like? What is your vision for that?
So it will be like a subscription model or a
Okay.
once-off model where people can pay to have the experience, and then it's also a nice takeaway. So you can save the experience, and then let's say in 20 or 30 or 40 years from now, you can have an immersive experience of you traveling Namibia at 20 years
Yeah,
later. It's like a
very
time
cool. Yeah, maybe that can also be used as well for conservationists or people to see, kind of how it looked then.
So that is,
Yeah,
if I can interrupt you, that is actually
please
a good
do.
point. So let's say there is a company or something that is happening with conservation in Namibia, and people want to showcase the progress that they make. Then it's also a nice thing to use to get a group of people to tour the site live and see exactly what it looks like and what progress has been made and stuff like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cool, development as well. So we have a question here from Leroy Jacobs. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, perfect. This is the question right here on the screen. So why don't you rather integrate the VR systems into medical and education? I believe this can be in addition to your services. PS don't want my video live. Yeah. So have you thought about this twist, Gerald?
Yeah, so I think what has happened is that our team are all experts in different fields. So in my company, we already offer virtual reality solutions to universities, mining industries, education, training, metaverse, and all those type of things. So I think the concept behind this is that there is a whole gaming community and people that can't afford to travel, which also it will be a different form of entertainment for them. So we don't want to replace tourism as it stands, but it's a nice way to experience a place before you go there, or maybe 20 years later experience that same place. So definitely, and I've also done in the past a lot of stuff for KwaZulu-Natal tourism here in South Africa. So yeah,
Okay.
I've got some burners here.
Yeah, hello, doggy. So we have Sina here in the chat is saying, thank you for your presentation. Can the experience also be shared in a group? So as in a group experience, and do you already have tour guides that have bought into this concept?
Yes, so the system is actually based on the metaverse concept. So the idea is to have different people inside the experience. So it can be a closed group where you invite, let's say, family members or colleagues to experience it with you, or it can be an open group so that people from all different places can join inside the experience. So we have talked to several. I'm not sure what's the English word, stakeholders in the industry, and it seems like they are very interested um, in the concept. It will be very similar to what they already do, except this will be digital communication between them and the clients that is viewing the experience. Also,
Okay.
with COVID, um, there has been other companies that have done 2D, uh, let's say 2D live tours, and the uptake for that was quite big as well.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, we have some great questions from Nicolette here. Thanks for chiming in. So, considering the connectivity issues that you have on the continent, is the product able to work with lower or no internet connectivity?
Yes, so I think uh, we need to take a long-term view on this as well. So Elon Musk is putting up Starlink, which should cover the continent and should provide us with better internet connectivity in rural places. And then also the experience works can be pre-recorded. So like I mentioned in the beginning, you can have quite a big library. And then the nice part is the person that is presenting the experience, the tour leader, he needs to have good internet, but then you don't have to have good internet while doing the tour itself, if that makes sense.
Hmm. So it could be, yeah, so it could be an interesting place as well for partnerships, to work with telecommunications companies or them something like that in order to really get good signal there for the tour operators, because that's clearly the most important part. Nicolette has a follow-up question, which I think is a really interesting one. So disabled people that aren't able to travel, but have you thought about it for, the visually impaired?
So we haven't specifically looked at the visually impaired. I think that is a problem because it is actually a visual experience. So they would be able to follow on the sound, but unfortunately, we can't visually cater for them. But yes, people that so we had this thing with a client before. She was in a hospice and she was basically on her last days. And then a family contacted us and said that one of her last wishes is to actually go to the ocean and experience it for the last time. So what we did is we actually filmed experience at the beach, and then we showed it to her, and she loved every moment of that. And then I think 2 or 3 days later she passed away.
Wow, wow, that's that's really beautiful. Um, I'm just thinking as well as a follow-up of this because we at Seed Stars worked with another startup that actually has a product for visually impaired clients. So another interesting partnership opportunity could be to have these beautiful ocean sounds, for example, around, but then kind of the guide also explains a bit what you're seeing. So it could also be an interesting, USP for the product. Thanks, Nicolette, so much for your questions. So we have one more question, and then we will move on. So the next question is about buying the software. So is there a specific place that you go to experience the VR, or is it only about buying the software? So I know you mentioned that the software or the experience is available on your phone and on your computer, but where are the specific places where you can go and experience this VR experience?
So the best way to experience it is actually to have a virtual reality headset. then it's immersive and it feels like you are actually there. But it is accessible through your smartphone and other devices. Then there's also a product called Google Cardboard, which is it's a virtual reality headset that works with your smartphone. A headset like that is about $19 or something like that. It's very gimmicky, but it also allows you to get that immersive experience. And then you've got high-end devices. They cost about $299. So it is affordable, and you can do a lot more with those devices than just this thing. So people purchase it to play games, entertainment, education, and that sort of thing. And then there is almost in all big cities, there is a virtual reality arcade, so you can experience it from there. And then if a travel agent wants to use it as a tool to showcase destinations, then they can also have something like that. And when a person comes to book a holiday to South Africa or Namibia or wherever, they can actually show them a part of the experience, to show them what they can expect when actually coming to Namibia.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this is answering all of your responses here. Just answered the remaining questions that we have in the QA. So yeah, one of them is about how heavy is the application on a mobile device, and I think you kind of answered that one before. That you really do need the connection from the guide, but the application itself isn't that heavy. And you also, there's another question here in the chat about, is the solution cost effective for people who are unemployed? I think that you just also answered that one as well, right? So that it is a good opportunity for people that are unemployed, but then also for, tour operators. So Joseph De Silva also asked, how do you measure the impact of the business on tourism in Namibia? Is it negative or positive? And from what you've been explaining, I think it seems very positive, right? Because it allows people to access this tourism sector if they're not able to travel, but then it also offers tour operators a really great way to kind of promote the tours that they are offering, to kind of get people to come and really want more. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of those, but I think that that's a really interesting offering of the product.
So I want to answer the question on the usability, or basically that part. So the solution is typically the same as streaming a YouTube video. So if you can stream a YouTube video, then you would be able to view this experience. And then also, maybe just to answer that question on tourism. So I think the solution is scalable. So in layman's terms, if we look at people traveling to Namibia, let's say Namibia can handle 1 million tourists per year. With this this platform, we can handle 20 million people, or even more, should the need arise. And then some parts of that the proceeds that we make from the project will actually go to Namibia via the tour guides and the lodges and whoever is participating in the project. So even if you look at a lodge scale, at a lodge you can probably handle 100 people at a time. With this experience, we can have 1 million people visiting that same lodge at the same time.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Gerald, for presenting your project and your idea. Everybody, you can feel free to reach out to Gerald here on the chat, get connected, form partnerships, and see how this project grows. Thank you so much, Gerald, for your time.
Cool.
And we'll see you soon.
You, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye now. Alrighty, that was a really great first introduction. Let's move on to our second pitch, which is a project that is called Better Than Flowers. So stay tuned. Here we go. Video is loading.
Hi, I'm Svetlana, and today I'd like to introduce you to our super cool project Better Than Flowers. But before we dive right in, I'd like you to reflect for a couple of moments on what love is. Good question, right? And when we think of love, how do we tend to express love? I'm pretty sure we all have our own ways, but I'm also quite confident that all of you have thought about gifts right now, because gifting is part of showing our love, affection, care. And of course, when it comes to presents, we all know what unwanted gifts mean and how they happen. So the two problems we intend to solve is problem number one, meaningful gifts. It's very difficult to find a meaningful gift for an average contemporary person who seem to have pretty much everything, at least when it comes to tangible material things. We don't really need just one more t-shirt. And problem number two is that Namibian wildlife needs more money to support biodiversity. You would be surprised to learn that in the UK alone, $6 billion is spent each year on unwanted gifts. So can you imagine if all this money was actually redirected to benefit the wildlife? The solution we are offering is Better Than Flowers. It's an experiential gifting platform that offers meaningful and personalized environmental gifts that preserve Namibian wildlife. So basically non-tangible experiences that bring very tangible results on the ground. We have three stakeholders. First, it's the customer, our customer, the person who is looking for a meaningful gift. Then there is the giftee, the person who gets this wonderful, non-tangible, enriching experience. And finally, wildlife that gets money from the sale of those gifts. So when we think about opportunity for Better Than Flowers, we believe that it's very promising. So what we currently know, we know that around 88% of Brits, if we take UK market as a sample market, are environmentally conscious people, or at least they perceive themselves as environmentally conscious people. We know that around 26% of people donate to wildlife causes, and we know that there are 46% of digitally savvy Brits. We also know that they spend around £45 on unwanted gifts. Here on the slide, you can see the market size opportunity and our company potential. Our business model is very straightforward, scalable, and low risk. So there is a customer or a buyer that comes to Better Than Flowers platform and selects a gift for the giftee, who gets non-tangible experience, and then there are local communities that benefit from this particular gift that is bought through our platform. For example, you want to make a really meaningful present for your partner, and you buy as a birthday gift, for example, a collar for a lioness called Simba. You learn about this lioness on the way, you learn about the cause. Your partner gets a non-tangible experience and a video from the local guardians, for example, a happy birthday video. And local communities benefit directly from your purchase. So you are happy, your giftee is happy, local communities get what they need most. Money for the protection of the wildlife or particular tangible objects that help them protect this wildlife. In this case, it's the collar. So what we currently have is our beautifully designed website for the MVP. We have a small team and we have a partner on the ground who knows very well what local guardians need and how we can better support and help Namibian wildlife. So for us, the next natural step would be now to go and raise some money to actually actively start the project, to invest into marketing and sales and growth of the project in general. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you will love Better Than Flowers the way we love this project. And I mean, what's more important than love? Thank you.
Hello, everybody. We are back. We are looking for Svetlana to join us on the stage. Let's see. Let me just invite you to the stage here. Alrighty. Svetlana, please join us on the stage. We have lots of questions to ask you. We want to learn more about this beautiful project. Alrighty, let me just see here. Svetlana, you're waiting on her to join the stage. Bear with us here. Alrighty. I think that it's not possible for Svetlana to join us on the stage because she is joining from a mobile device. But perhaps what we can do is just kind of ask and answer some questions here in the chat. So Svetlana, can you maybe say hi on the chat here and we can just do some questions that way? All right, let's see. Svetlana, are you with us? Are any other team members here from Better Than Flowers? Feel free to raise your hand and we can invite you to the stage. Okay, yeah, Jason, perfect. Yeah, I'll add you. I'll add you to the stage now. Thanks so much. Perfect. Give me 1 second. While we're doing this, everybody think of your questions. All right, let's get Jason up here on the stage. Give me 1 moment. All righty. Here you go, Jason. You have the invite to join the stage. Oh, you're also joining from a mobile device, I think. So I think that's the kicker here. If you're joined from a mobile device, it can't. Let's see, Marie. Let me try. Is anybody? Jason, you're on a laptop. Bear with us, everybody. Let me just invite you to the stage. There we go. Should be inviting you now, Jason. Alrighty, here we go. Jason from Team Better Flowers is now joining us on the stage. Hi, Jason. Thanks so much for stepping in.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't know why you can't see me, but there we go.
That's all right. That's better than nothing. Oh, there we go. We can see you now. Hi, Jason. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
What a beautiful project at Better Than Flowers. Does anybody have any questions for the Better Than Flowers team? Drop them in the QA chat and we'll pop them up on the screen. Let's see, we have one. Yep, perfect. Thanks, John Philip, for your question. So, except satellite callers, what are the potential other purposes that Guardians can use the gift money for to protect local biodiversity? And are they marketable? What do you think, Jason?
So the line idea was just one of the projects that we use just sort of as a starting point, but we have a large variety of projects ranging from rhinos to lions to elephants, and a lot of that has to do with conflict with communities. So whenever one of these gifts is purchased, it's not only just based benefiting biodiversity and the conservation of it, but it is also creating a benefit for the community. For instance, the collar would react with the early warning towers, which is also a gift warning the communities when lions are in the area. But then we also have ideas for community gardens, for school groups, food packages, and we have gifts ranging from $25 to $3,000, depending if you want to go corporate, small. So it's a large variety that nearly every gift would impact the communities directly.
Really cool. And just a follow-up question on that, based on the kind of purchase of the gifts, does then it kind of change the direct impact? So, I mean, if you buy a cheaper gift, let's say, then I would assume that the impact that it have is maybe in a lighter way. And then as you kind of climb up the cost of the gift or the price of the gift, then does it change the impact? Is that kind of how it's related, or it doesn't really make a difference?
So how we looked at it is, we've got all these projects on the ground, and if I use the Rhino one, for example, you can purchase a Rhino Ranger pack, which outfits a ranger, or you can buy him a full kit, which gets him a tent, a bedroll,
Okay.
and then allows him to do these field patrols. So it is 100% related to that. But then we also have the option where you can, as a community, say, if you want to build a predator-proof kraal for a community, you don't have to buy the whole thing, but you can set up a community drive where each person buys a pole and you sort of build the fence together. So you can scale it up within your own communities. But yeah, the higher the price, the sort of greater the impact on the ground.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that. We have another question from Nicolette. So a lot of people struggle to figure out what gifts to get for their loved ones. Is there a test on your platform that can be taken by the gift giver to take that they can help know if they've given the right gift? So I guess it's more of a sort of poll, did you love the gift? Would you like something else? Is that into the platform?
Yeah, so we've looked at this, and we look at sort of feedback that comes from both the giftee and the gift receiver, and a lot of the time it is we already struggle to buy these gifts, but at least you can, if it is a wrong gift, it's still a tangible gift, knowing that from both ends you're having a direct impact on the ground. But yeah, I suppose we could look at setting up some sort of tool where you can send a evite, and they can then select a gift that they like to the value that you're willing to purchase.
Yeah, that would be really cool. While we're waiting on some other gifts, I was just wondering, is there any competition that is in the market? Is anybody already kind of doing this, or are you guys innovative 100%?
So in Namibia, there's no one like this, which is really
Okay.
cool, and it's exciting to have this sort of direct impact on conservation. I know globally there are things where you can buy a tree for someone, and then they get updates on the tree, how much it's grown in the year, how it was affected during the seasons. So the idea is out there, but not for direct conservation and community benefits, as we're trying to nail.
Cool. And have you thought about, how do you get repeat customers, because it's really awesome. Maybe I, feel really awesome about having this impact in Namibia directly, but do you show the impact or maybe pictures of the ranger that received the kit or something like that to the gift giver and receiver so that it kind of keeps them coming back?
Yeah, so what will happen is, and it all depends. If, let's say, if one of the gifts that you do is you adopt a rhino, where the funds go to covering the expenses of this community ranger to protect these rhinos, you will then get a yearly update, both as the gift giver and the gift receiver, which then sort of tells you again, oh yeah, wait, this happened, so let me do this again, or let me buy this gift for someone else, so let me go see what new gifts they have. So there will be yearly updates, depending on what you sort of bought into, but then also it'll, you will have like a share button which says, okay, you've received this gift, you can now share this idea with other people, or across social networks and emails and that sort of thing.
And have you thought about, potentially when you're sending these updates, maybe you also send a voucher or a coupon for another gift, to kind of be like, okay, sweet, I get 15% off. Here's my update. And maybe I want to buy another gift, just to keep reeling them in.
Yeah, no, it is something that we have considered. One of the things that we're trying to avoid is sort of sending a tangible gift or a tangible sort of receipt. So it would be, because then you start looking at shipping, you start looking at impacts again, where we'd rather have all that impact here on the ground. But to receive a virtual voucher or a discount using a code for your next purchase is in the works.
Okay, awesome. We have a question here from Leroy. So, is the marketing on a global platform? What has been the response during the incubation? So, have you already reached out to potential customers? Have you done this research? And what has been the response?
So what we've done is we haven't done sort of formal market research where we've done sort of global things, but from my side in the travel and conservation industry, I've reached out to a lot of my ex-travelers who have traveled with me, and the rest of our group have reached out to friends and family who are in corporate worlds, who live in the city, to try and understand what is the sort of match point, and that's why we have this range in pricing. But it's also something that we want to be able to not just focus on sort of one demographic. We want to be able to get the retired rich American versus the hardworking European. So it's sort of just where we want to go. So we have done it, but we haven't done sort of formal global market research yet.
Okay. So I guess then to this question, it would not be necessarily how do you market your products because you're not there yet. Kind of what is
Yeah.
your plan for marketing?
So it's yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
But I'll leave that to the rest of my group to figure that out. But I know that's we're hoping that obviously we will have a website which is I think fully fine. Well, it's the sort of trial version is up and running already. Then we start looking at using social media, doing ad campaigns, mailing lists. And then hope that sort of by word of mouth, and then once we start getting into full marketing, I'll step out at this stage.
Yeah. Perfect. That can be for Svetlana and the rest of the team to hop in. Perfect, Jason. Thank you so much for popping in to answer all of these questions. Let me just make sure there are no other questions here. Looks like so far they've been answered. Let me just see what we have in the chat. From development cooperation perspective, is there any information and or ideas to improve the livelihood of these communities? So Sarmina is asking us this question. So from a development cooperation perspective, are there any information or ideas to improve the livelihood of these communities?
So when we looked at these ideas, we obviously one of the main goals of this lab of tomorrow is to protect the biodiversity. But to be able to protect that, we have to ensure that the livelihood of these communities and conservancies that live with wildlife are improved as well. So when you look at we've got a large list of gifts. It's that everyone benefits these guys, and it's a lot of this stuff is all I see the sustainably there. So a lot of this is all
Sustainability. Yeah.
that have been operating for a long time, and we just trying to find ways to additionally support them. So it's not projects that we're running ourselves. We're just trying to create an avenue for guests to directly support them in a way that is tangible and sort of gives them that great feeling. So for Save the Rhino Trust, for example, is an organization that's been running for over 35 years. So their sort of system and their mainstreaming is there, so they've sustainably running it. But if we can get more support financially to them, to the communities, then they can sort of focus on greater picture stuff, rather than focusing on the nitty gritty.
No, that totally makes sense. I mean, you're creating a really beautiful bridge between these products and these ideas and the projects and the community. So I think it's a really awesome project. Thank you so much, Jason and Svetlana and team there on the chat for joining us today and for your pitch. We'll move on to the next one. Thank you, Jason.
Cheers, everyone.
Alrighty, everybody. We are now moving on to our third pitch, which is from AfriArtsi. So here we go.
Good afternoon, my name is Shireen Tuda and I want to introduce you to the vision of AfriArtsi. Namibian artisans who relied solely on foot traffic of tourists and locals suffered more than 95% loss of income during COVID. These artisans typically live in remote areas. They're not tech savvy or experienced in entrepreneurship and therefore not able to find alternative markets. Our vision is to provide them with an alternative income stream via a platform that would increase their earnings and also make them resilient to future economic crises. As it was essential for us to identify an underrepresented need, we embarked on a longer validation phase after the workshop in Namibia. We interviewed traders and platform operators mainly in Germany, and it became apparent that there are several similar platform solutions to the one we had in mind, and that our initial concept was not compelling enough with the path we had taken. From the supply side point of view, there are already various platforms and digital solutions to represent products and services offered online, but conversion rates remain low due to lack of awareness or marketing support. From the demand side point of view, B2B platforms lacked visibility and trust. In this sector, trade relationships are mostly established networking in person at trade fairs. It would be very difficult for online platforms to replace this channel. Thus, we decided on a specific focus on the events industry, which has a more defined target group that would be easy to reach and to achieve visibility. Having event organizers on board acknowledges the value of local craft and is a good first step, providing a foundation to generate additional demand. When a participant or delegate receives a medal or a gift at an event, it creates a heightened focus and an opportunity to introduce the story behind the item. And in that moment, the packaging or tag will clearly state, created with care by name of artisan, scanned so I can introduce myself and my community. After scanning, message will pop up stating through your participation in the event, this is the impact that is made. Please share your details and I will keep you updated on the ongoing contribution being made. With these interactions, we enable end-to-end traceability of the item produced through the event and to the recipient. A connection between the artisan and consumer of the craft makes each item produced personal for the crafter and the recipient. The market potential is based on 2019 ICA reported statistics. Our initial target market is based on conservative projections. From the experience of the Cycle Classic Namibia event over the past 3 years, there were 2,000 event completion medals produced by local artisans. We received extremely positive feedback from participants, and through the annual repeat of the event, we have built a theme and a sustainable relationship. Our business model to fund the platform is rather simple. It comprises a fixed fee per item supplied. There will be a fixed admin fee on donations received through the platform. Corporate advertising for local events will be made available, and an event project management fee will be charged, for example, for logistics facilitation and basically to take the pain out of gifting or procurement. We will commence with the build of the MVP in October to December and have enlisted students from a German University of Applied Science to complement our delivery capacity. Parallel to this development, we are focusing on extending our relationship with Cycle Classic Namibia to introduce the artisan story in a tangible manner. With the use of the QR code exposed to more than 2,000 riders in the 2022 event, we have the opportunity to collect feedback and experience. This interaction with the artisan story will give us the first real market insight into customer responses to artisanal products. It will also guide and support the initial platform development during the October to December timeframe. We will populate the platform with credible artisan stories and also engage Namibian corporate companies and network with European trade partners. The main European event season commences in mid-January 2023. This presents an opportunity to produce custom gifts for participating Namibian companies. Our ask is €5,000 from the GIZ incubation funding, an additional 45,000 for content creation, design, and online marketing. AfriArtsi Founders brings the skills and experience to develop the MVP tech platform, and we have the relationship to negotiate and deliver the enhanced experience with Cycle Classic Namibia. The artisan story and community story is fundamental to the value proposition, and this content creation requires specialist expertise not within the team. And we are therefore asking for funding for the MVP to be developed during phase 1 of our roadmap that would enable us to create good content and reach out for as many potential demanders. Our team combines deep knowledge of the target market with digital expertise and a strong belief in the demand of our product. We are all committed to turn this valuable vision into reality. I am a the product owner, and I have got extensive craft channel expertise. Mike Love is a digital product owner with B2B platform expertise. Matthias Leonard is a platform engineer with extensive software development expertise. Thank you for your time and your attention, and we are ready to answer your questions.
All righty. Thank you so much for that pitch, Shireen. Nice to have you on stage today. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I think there's a bit of a delay, but we just take it very slowly.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your pitch. It's lovely to have you here today. I will open up now the floor for questions about the AfriArtsi project. So everybody, again, feel free to use the chat and the QA section. While I am waiting on those questions, I was just wondering if you could take me through again the kind of business model behind the product and also the event management part.
You know, when you we all have attended conferences, we've all attended trade fairs, tourism fairs, technical fairs, and we usually get a little goodie bag, and from exhibitors we also get either their own product, you know, which could be a technical product or whatever they produce, but very often these products are mass-produced products, either from, you know, Southeast Asia or South Asia. But increasingly, and I've seen it and I've attended quite a lot of events, both in the Americas and in Europe, I've seen that there are pockets, but very, very sparsely spread, of companies who would actually seek out artisanal products. And then there's a story. You would, for example, have a bookmark with seeds in it, or you would have a little pen bag that is made by some artisan. And those are normally the things that you keep. So, you know, looking at where we are, if we look at corporate companies here in Namibia, and if we look at banks, insurance companies, oil companies, really the big corporates, it's very often easy to resort to the mass products. Like we said, you know, the pain of procurement and the pain of working with artisans, you know, it just becomes so much. So we see our role as, in this case, the Namibia Craft Center, as the enabler, the facilitator, to deal with the client, with the events organizer, and we dealt with the Cycle Classic, which is one of the largest cycle events, you know, family cycle events in Southern Africa, where they used to procure these metal medals, which have been, you know, produced in you know, wherever it was, with handcraft products. It wasn't very expensive, but it was 2,000 units, and the feedback from the people was quite good. So how we see it is to target, for example, if we take the ITB or any tourism fair in Germany, and Germany is one of the source markets for Namibia, and it's actually leading at the moment in the number of events that's there. So whether it is ITB, whether it is CeBIT, which is the highest, the biggest technical fair or IT fair, um, is to liaise with our, for example, our tour operators, because we know that they give customized gifts, they give special gifts, and at this point we can deal directly with them, so that when they give gifts to their clients that side, also to other tour operators who are selling Namibia, who in turn wants to give to their multipliers. So you have the story, and they already have affinity with the country, with the destination. And so gradually we will build up the story of the artisan, but also through the reliability on time and the product quality, build the story of the artisan, so we get more business, not just by gifts, but then expand that later on and get organic growth via, whether it is now for a bespoke or very tailor-made retail, or decorators, interior decorators, or very specific projects. And that is really how we see it going.
It's super interesting. As you were speaking, I mean, number one, I think something that Seed Stars would love to be able to take advantage of, right? Because we have these big events all the time, and it really makes sense to have something more personal. And we're all about creating impact. So being able to have a more personalized gift, but also create impact in the community is something that I think a lot of people would buy into. But um, I'm just wondering how you would see it, in the future. Would you see it as something like, there's a platform that's called Etsy that I use to buy things all the time, which are people, that are making things in their home and then they're selling smaller quantities, but they are the ones that are kind of posting it on some sort of, marketplace platform to where people could buy it. Would you imagine the product to develop into something like this, or would you always maintain this connection between you and the artisan?
We will always maintain the connection between us and the artisan, because unlike an Etsy producer, the market that we look at in Namibia, and it's quite possibly very much the same for Africa, is that you have artisans living in rural areas. They don't necessarily have the business savvy or technical know-how, and to prevent a buyer being frustrated, we all know that when I'm interested in a product, I want to know there's somebody at the other end where I've sent an email or I've clicked something on a website that's actually going to respond to me. That when I say I want something, the person can customize. So we see ourselves as a middle person between the artisan, and it's really to maintain the integrity of the artisan and respectful, so that you don't have a situation where people order products and they say, you know what, it's such a nightmare to deal with SMEs. But we want to be able to offer that in a really respectful way. But we don't want to have a long channel, so that in the end they get as much out of it. Um, we don't do them in that they get the price as close to 90% of what they ask, or when we top up and give them 100% of their price, that we can actually give them that back and have impact in the community.
Sure. No, it totally makes sense. So we have a question here about how do you encourage the youth to engage in cultural arts and contemporary arts where they're so influenced by this kind of modernized culture. So that's one side. And then how will you kind of source and market to your customers?
Yeah, the issue of the youth, I think it's a global challenge. Everybody wants to have modern, and but what we've seen, from my former role that I played at the Namibia, the National Arts Council of Namibia, is that there are increasingly a call for cultural heritage, the preservation thereof, and through platforms like that, where there is, when people are encouraged to participate in art actively, where they can then stand in the design of fabrics, in the design of their clothes. The use of beadworks in a modern and a trendy way, because we see that, for example, on the European or the international catwalks, how they use African fabrics and design. So that is basically how we can do it. It's a long process, and it's a collective process for everybody involved in culture and heritage in any country. Your second question was again?
About how will you source and reach your customers. And I think that this actually kind of piggybacks on another question we have, which is, so number one, how do you source your customers, but also are there other revenue generators throughout the craft from month to month? So maybe you have an artisan that's making a craft for a specific function or an event, but then how do they continue generating revenue month over month?
That is, a continued generation. That is a challenge. But for us, where I am at the Namibia Craft Center, of course, we support our income through exhibitions, specific arts exhibition and specific projects. Now, there are many events, and we have to look at the low-hanging fruit, because we don't want to flood or produce products that and present to people for which they do not want. We want to have a small range of products, and use it. The easiest one is with our local participants who travel overseas. To engage with them, and to determine what their price points are and what kind of products they want, and then build from there. And then later on, one can go on to golf days. We are in the process of building database of events, because we cannot get to everything. And like I said, the low hanging fruit is with corporate companies, to provide to them, to prevent them from simply using the easy way out of mass produced products. Um, the other thing is that, like I said in our presentation, I contact personal engagement with buyers, at like fairs like Ambiente, where you can present your product, where you tell the story, because the biggest thing is the story of the artisan. It's not necessarily the product. It should be a quality product. It shouldn't be a shoddy product, but a quality produced product that people can take up, that tells a story, and that they know that they are making a difference. And short of being really, saying anything negative, but a lot of companies, they are compelled to greenwash. They will never be clean. If you look at airlines, if you look at car rental companies, so they will never, it's we all have to we see the world paying carbon tax. So if you're paying carbon tax for your, for greenwashing or for your conscience, then you may as well, if you're going to buy a giveaway, or you're going to buy some decorative item for your office or for an event, it may as well be a sustainably, ethically sourced products, whereby you can demonstrate that yes, we cannot use, ethically sourced fuel, but for all the other things, we can source ethically, we can use sustainable products that will make a difference in the lives of those artisans, and in doing so, raise the profile of an environmentally aware and savvy organization. And this goes for events, it goes for exhibitions, it goes for trade exhibitions, where you have participants going to meet with B2B partners, where the other partner can also become aware of the products that is available in markets. And let's face it, Namibia, we are piloting this, but there are many countries that, I think once we get this going, that we almost become a pioneer. I would like to think to do the rest for Africa, to have our products properly presented.
I think it's a great mission and a great objective, and I think you're connecting people with maybe a a system and a network of stakeholders that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have access to. So I think it's really great. Thank you so much, Shireen, for being here to answer our questions. Thank you for your pitch. And now we will move on to our final pitch. Thank you so much, Shireen. Thank you for being here. We will move on now to our final pitch from AfriBox. Last but most certainly not least, here we go. Please stick around for some questions afterwards. Here we are.
Hello, my name is Antje Raan and I'm super excited to represent my team, the AfriBox team. Just imagine you have Africa's mysteries, stories delivered to you in a box to your doorstep. The challenge started in 2020 when the pandemic hit Namibia. African affine travelers couldn't travel to Namibia anymore. They couldn't share their stories with their children and they couldn't experience what they wanted to experience. Local communities, wildlife sanctuaries, the ranger on the ground were really hit hard by that because they are reliant on tourism and their revenues they're bringing into this country. The disconnection was severe. It was terrible and it was very affecting everybody. There was a decline in tourism of 90% within 7 days, meaning that businesses closed down, entities closed down, there were production sites that closed down, and there were thousands and thousands of jobs that were lost in a third world country. The worst thing about this is there were hundreds of stories that couldn't be told because nobody could visit Africa or Namibia in this case. Well, this is not going to happen again because we were thinking about a solution for this, and the solution is simple yet unique, called the AfriBox. The AfriBox is very simple. By a few clicks, you can basically impact many and hold up the biodiversity of our beautiful country, Namibia. Did you know that we can virtually and physically pack all the magic of Africa into one box? I'm sure you didn't know that, but AfriBox will and can do that. How does it work? Very simple, yet unique, as I said before. The heart of the AfriBox is basically a website platform where subscribers can go on and with only a few clicks subscribe to the AfriBox. Click and subscribe and pay, and then the AfriBox will be delivered to your doorstep. The AfriBox will contain digital content, storytelling, VR videos that can be repeatedly watched, gamification components, and physical components that were locally produced and that are authentic. So a very simple, straightforward process. Your subscription will directly impact the local environmental projects. It will generate a stable income and it will support communities in need. What will it do for our client? Our client, on the other side, will get a very unique, authentic story delivered to his doorstep of his home. It will have an educational experience and it will be adventurous, authentic, and very real. We will be satisfying the longing for Africa. We will be looking into giving the experiences back in a virtual manner and by acting with components of literal products that are actually authentic and produced in Namibia. We are targeting different target markets, and these are mainly gifters and educators. Educators, just imagine a biology teacher that is basically in class and wants to tell their kids about cheetahs or rhinos or about the life of a rhino ranger. And the teacher can basically subscribe one of these boxes, AfriBox, and just receive the box and tell the class and have a virtual and a physical experience. The subscription market is very big. There's a 65 billion estimated market on the subscription market. And the AfriBox actually said if we can just get a tiny percentage of that, we will be happy, because that tiny percentage is going to be a revenue that impacts locals, and it's going to be a great impact in that market. We do have a lot of work to do still. We still have a lot of research to do. We still have a lot of legal research to do as well, but we do have direct competitors, which we will have to check out, and indirect competitors. But we think with our unique and our original, engaging and transparent product, the AfriBox has a really good chance to get a fair and square market share. We are going to approach the market simply by engaging personally with local entities as well as with international entities. We're going to provide information on the impact it has of the product, and we're going to have a very strong network locally and internationally again. Our business model is mainly through subscriptions, but we're also going to have a gifting and a donation subject on our platform. We did a survey when we started this whole AfriBox idea, and the survey response was incredible, because from 100 responses, 97% of the responses confirmed that they are intrigued by the AfriBox and that they would want to buy a product like that. The upscaling is incredible. AfriBox can be transferred countrywide, worldwide, to all countries, especially African countries, selling the uniqueness of everything. The impact is job creation locally, and it creates sustainability in the local communities. We do have a future roadmap, but like I said before, we still have a lot of things to do, and we have a lot of work ahead of us, but the roadmap is defined, and we are hoping to get this done and ready. Now let me introduce my wonderful team. It's Aram from Ghana, who does Lily Arts. And then we've got Elisabetta from Tridem. She is from Italy. And then myself, Antje from ATC Namibia in the tourism industry. Combined, I think what we need from you is we need partners in Namibia that can help us to start the AfriBox and get going. We need investors to help us pay for salaries and logistics behind getting the AfriBox up and running. And we also need partners to basically help us with the software. I would like to thank you, and I'm hoping to collaborate with you soon. Thank you so much for your attention.
Ich kann nicht ganz leise sitzen.
Hello, Ante. We are back. Hi. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Hello, hello.
Lovely to have you with us today. Thank you so much for that beautiful video presentation.
Thank you.
I know pitch videos are always the hardest part, but
it's terrible seeing yourself. It's terrible.
Everybody hates hearing their voice and seeing their face. It's, it's just, it's part of it, but you did an amazing job. Thank you so much for being here with us. We'll now open up the floor to some questions to hear more about AfriBox. As per usual, I'm going to be selfish and just jump right into my questions. I wanted to know a little bit, you mentioned that you have some competition out there. So I'm wondering, what is your USP? What's your unique selling point? Why are customers going to choose AfriBox over those other competitors out there?
Yeah, the difference of our product is that we basically have a virtual and a physical experience. So you basically have a VR experience, you have a QR code, you have a gamification compound there somewhere where you can play, but you will literally get a physical box from Africa with the substitutes that we took a good example when we did the first pitch, where we actually talk about a rhino ranger, and then we would pack the sand where the rhino is walking on into the box. So you have a visual, a smell, a hear, audio, everything, all the senses are basically activated. And the other experiences are more like only virtual, only gamification, or only physical. So there's not this combination. So I think that makes it very unique.
Definitely. And so you were mentioning a little bit more about your business model, about the subscription model. Do you have an idea of how much this would cost, and kind of what is the model? Is it going to be monthly, bi-monthly prescription, yearly? What's the idea there?
Yeah, well, we did a little survey when we did the incubation phase, and we had 100 people that came back to us, and just to try and figure out, like, would this actually be a product that the market would want? They were all very keen on it, and very keen on the fact of the impact that this box would have if they would buy it. The cost of the box, the main problem is basically the shipping, which makes it quite expensive. So, but we looked at having different kind of boxes, or like an adventure box where there's more like a virtual experience, costing around 20 to 35 euros, depending on how long the input is and is there gamification in it. Then we were looking at maybe having a culinary box where there's like a nice gin and some dried meat from Namibia in there. Obviously, that would be a bit more expensive, but then you do it for 2 people with a recipe inside or something like that. So to basically have an interactive cooking session going on at home. And then the third box was more like an educational box, meant for classes and teachers, to basically have a group of 10 students that have like a collected virtual experience, but then like little packets of little experiences inside that box. And that would come, like the culinary, depending on what's inside. I mean, we've got some awesome gin here in Namibia. Would cost about 100 euros for 2 people, and then the education box about 150 euros. So roundabout.
Okay. Yeah. So just to follow up that question, I mean, you've already answered the variety of boxes, but kind of what % of the market do you think you can capture? I mean, if you're talking about ordering a box of gin, how do you convince people to pay that little extra cost on a bottle of gin, in other parts of the world? What is your strategy for that, and what kind of percentage of the market do you think you can capture?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to capture like the local market first. And the nice thing about the AfriBox is that you do have like an impact, because you can use locally produced art crafts or whatever, or basically just a bit of dune sand, where you can tell a story about. The other side of the AfriBox is that you can basically do a B2B connection and have an advertising campaign running for local products that are being produced en masse, and they can basically buy into the AfriBox. And the impact by them buying into the AfriBox means that they will have a job security basically for their workers. And it's all about the storytelling of the local that works at the gin factory, or the person drinking the gin, and then eventually you getting the story of that, and then you are going to be in Europe drinking the gin as well, and having that whole experience, knowing that you've had an impact on it as well. So there's 2 sides of income. The one is the subscription side, which is more like a buy-in subscription, and then the other one is more having a B2B contact here on the ground.
Okay. No, totally clear. Nicolette has a great kind of follow-up question to that. How do you ensure, standardization and quality of the products if they're being sourced from local sellers?
I can basically jump onto the previous pitch that was held by Shireen. She's like from the Craft Center, and there's certain entities in Namibia that ensure that they basically support all the communities, and they also ensure, like Shireen would do, giving trainings to make sure that these items are standard. We do trainings as well to ensure that the items are basically Europeanized, or how do you say it? Just like that in the Western world it's acceptable and usable and wearable, because I know we've got a lot of lovely necklaces and stuff, but it's not really wearable. It's like, it's nice to have at home. So that would be one thing where we have to do a lot of research still, is what are we allowed to export? I think that's one of the biggest questions we have to still go into, what is allowed. And then the other thing is that we still have a lot of research to do in the aspects of basically production is like, I mean, if we're going to have 1 million subscriptions, we're not going to be able to produce 1 million little baskets that look the same. It's not possible. So that's why we have to cluster them and have different categories in sending these out. And that would be like by a survey, basically on site, as asking, okay, what do you guys want? What do you like? But I think the main key of the whole experience is at the end of the day that you get virtual experiences, then you get a box. So you get 2 months, you get only a virtual experience, also because it's like, environmentally friendlier. And then the third month, you basically get the box, the literal box. So you're building up the story, and then they get the physical box where they can dig in and experience and smell and eat. And so it's basically a build up. And yeah, I think you have to eventually make it that these people that actually have these boxes, they can be able to travel to Namibia and actually have a tour here in Namibia on these sites that they supported over the last year or whatever.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of synergies between all 4 of these projects that have been presented today. I think we need to do another session and figure out how partnerships can be created between all of you, because, really it sounds like everything is building on top of each other. Just one more question, because I think it's also relevant before we kind of go on. You're talking about hopefully having 1 million subscriptions, and that would be amazing. And I can't wait to watch you achieve that. And, but how do you envision, making sure that the local artisans don't feel pressure by increased, quantity of the products that are required? And also, do you envision helping them kind of be able to increase their production? What's your thought around that?
We still have to do a lot of research for that. That's why we need investors to basically support us, to basically give me a car and some petrol money, and then I can go around and just drive and make sure that is. But that's exactly what I said earlier on. You can do like a culinary box, you can do like 1 million subscriptions, but there's no chance you can do like 1 million subscriptions on baskets that are created by a San group somewhere in the Bushman land. So that's why we said like we have to have different clusters of boxes with different stories, and then you have a limit to it, which would make it even more interesting, because like I'm the only one of 1,000 that got this box. So I think that's the easiest way to basically do it. It's logistically more difficult, but I think it would make most sense. But we worked out if we have 1,000 subscriptions, we would break even. So 10,000 would be revenue.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so then everybody, we need to work hard to promote this product and subscribe. Thank you so much for your time and for presenting this beautiful project. We are now moving into the networking session, so I will remove you from the stage. But Ante, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks. Bye.
Alrighty, everybody. Thank you so much for your interactivity, for showing love. If everybody can just give me some emojis there for all of the projects that were presented today. I think it was really inspirational. And like I said, it's very clear now that there's a lot of synergies between all 4 of these projects. So definitely we will make sure that everybody connects. Investors that are out there, these projects are really relying on you to get off the ground. So I would definitely encourage you to reach out to them. Feel free to reach out to Seed Stars in case you're interested in getting put in touch with any of these entrepreneurs. Also, team members who are on the chat, drop your LinkedIns there so that investors and potential partners can get in touch with you. So now we will move on to the networking session. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for your time and for being here today. Let me just bring Eric and Ada back to the stage just for a moment, in case they want to say any final words before we move into this networking part. Eric, Ada, you have any parting words that you would like to share with the crowd here?
I think you've said everything. So, but I would like to say a very big thank you to everyone who took time to spend with the companies today, and also share their questions, help them revise and think about their solutions. And this is actually what every early stage entrepreneur is looking out for, feedback, and that's what you've provided. So thank you all so much for your time. Thanks, Liz.
And I also can only add my thanks to
Nzira.
the teams and to all the participants and their questions. And I'm looking forward to the next steps, obviously. And yeah, looking forward to order my first AfriBox to enjoy virtual reality content. And I'm a customer of all of the teams already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Great. And thank you, a huge thank you to GIZ and Labs of Tomorrow project, creating some really, really interesting business ideas here. And it's really exciting to see where everybody goes. So now everybody head over to the fluid space, which I will open now. And we'll say goodbye here, and I'll see you there. Thanks so
Bye.
much, everybody, for your time today. See you in the fluid space networking. Bye-bye.